And we're back with more of the Shacknews Awards 2023. We're going to talk about the best music of the year. So, this is music in a game that was released this year. This can be in level music, this could be menu music, this could be overworld music. It doesn't matter. This is just about the overall soundtracks of these games. And here are the nominees: F-Zero 99, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Octopath Traveler 2, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, and Street Fighter 6. I'll kick it off just letting everyone know that F-Zero 99 has excellent music, largely due to the fact that the original F-Zero for SNES had amazing music. And it was a launch title for SNES, and one of the key differentiators that SNES had over its 16-bit competitors was a better sound chip. And F-Zero was a celebration of that in a lot of ways. You look back to even like other games on the SNES era, Donkey Kong Country or Star Fox, Super Mario World. These all had amazing soundtracks that really shined on that system. But what the devs at F-Zero 99 did, they kicked it up a notch, and they gave us the F-Zero SNES menu, but then they went super hard. Like, that no one ever expected, but they're like, you know what? Every time a different special event is in that second menu, we're going to have a slightly different sound. So you can sit there on the menu screen for 40 minutes and listen to maybe 3 different variations of that song. I think that's one of the cooler things they did. There's obviously like the post-game music when you win. There's the celebration music when you lose. There's that kind of ambient, melancholy song that plays. F-Zero 99 has some great music. I don't think it's going to win this category, but F-Zero Music Rules deserves the nomination at the very least. And shout out to the devs for the care that they put into remixing the menu music specifically. But yeah. And yeah, a lot of kids are finding out that some of these songs aren't from Smash Brothers. They're actually from a racing game called F-Zero. So that's neat.
Oh god.
Yeah.
With that said, I'll stand by the White Land remix in Smash Brothers against anything.
It's excellent. I always thought that White Land kind of sounded like a ripoff of the James Bond theme, Ozzy. I don't know if you get that.
I never got that.
It's that dun 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 dun. It's like slightly different notes. It's a different pitch, but that step is it's kind of similar. But then again, I was 12 when I thought that, and now I'm 42, and I'm still playing these same tracks. Just baffling. But yeah, this music in F-Zero is a large part of that game's experience, so a worthy nominee. Next up, though, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Steve, hit me. Just tell me why you love the soundtrack of this.
Well, first of all, I'll give it off on the jump. They changed Mario's jump, and that's revolutionary. They changed it to a guitar sound, or yeah, it was a guitar. And when you change something that's been like the first time you hear it in anything, it's like, okay, that's taking a shot, and it works. It works perfectly. Most of the levels are based around music. I mean, the whole mechanic of the game it revolves around music in some
Wonder
way, shape,
Flower.
or form. The
Yeah.
Wonder Flowers, they changed the themes and everything. I don't want to spoil too much, but the final boss battle is pretty much a rhythm game or rhythm mechanic, that type of thing. There are levels where you hear old classic themes like the Hammer Brothers theme and Delfino Plaza. You hear that music, which is fantastic. I could sit in those levels for hours listening to the Hammer Brothers theme from Mario 3. You hear that.
That new the underground theme remix slaps. It's so good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It is one of my favorite songs in that game, and you only notice it in a couple of levels or whatever, a couple times in a couple levels.
And then combine that with where there are enemy levels where there are enemies actually singing. And like King Boo is singing a operetta. The Piranha Plants, multiple levels are singing, and it's like music. Music just plays a huge part in the game.
Absolutely, and we've talked about it in other categories. but it really feels like Wonder took inspiration from Mario Maker, and Maker has always been about music. There's always been auto-scrolling music levels in Mario Maker since the first one, and it feels like they were like, what if we could build one of these without any rules? And what you get is piranhas on parade, or piranha plants on parade, or what I think is a great combination of gameplay and music in the game, that level jump, 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 which is the platforms show up to the beat of the music, and it gets increasingly faster as you get closer to the end. That level, I think, is one of the best designed platforming levels ever, because you can't die on it, right? You fall down, and you just go right back up the pipe, and then the Wonder Flower is there for you to trigger again. But it's insanely hard, and it had me cursing, at Nintendo for making it. So it's just, I love that level specifically. It reminded me of some of those secret levels in Mario Sunshine, Steve. I don't know if you remember, like, that acapella Mario.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
That level specifically it reminded me of those, the secret levels in Sunshine. And yeah, I think the music in Wonder is awesome. I put on the YouTube channel at Shacknews, like, we have all of the overworld songs. We made shorts out of them. We posted those all over social. Yeah. It was one of those things where when I was like sitting down to capture gameplay for review purposes, I'm like, what can I do that doesn't break embargo, that shows people another aspect of this game? And for me, it was like, I got to tell people need to know that these songs rule. And yeah, I agree with what you said about the Bowser level. The music specifically there is this amazing, like, crescendo of the songs. Like, everything builds up to that moment. And there's this really, I actually changed my YouTube avatar to the moment, but there's this moment where you get a Wonder Flower and, like, a platform pops you up, and it's like Elephant Mario's looking back at it, basically. It's like you're in this pose. It's the only time you're in the pose for the entire game, but it elevates that musical moment, is what I'm getting at. And the way that gameplay and music interweave with each other in the game is outstanding. Like, every level has the song that you hear at the beginning, and then there's the Wonder song, right? And it's just every time the Wonder effect hits, things become more chaotic, right? And the songs become more chaotic too. And I just think they do an excellent job. You mentioned the sound design, but yeah, specifically with music being triggered by gameplay events, I just think they do an excellent job. Anyone else want to sing about how great Mario Wonder's music is, or should we move on to the next one? I'll move on to the next one then. Zelda. We've talked about this game a lot this award season. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I think, Donovan, you mentioned that you just love the theme. Like that, the one that we hear in the trailers, it comes out in various parts of the game. That theme is iconic and brand
Very
new.
epic and sweeping.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention, like, this is another thing where different biomes or different villages have songs. I love Hateno Village's theme. There are songs that play when you're in the air, when you're flying, or when you're free falling, there's a different song. When you land, there's a song. When you land in the depths, there's that vroom bass sound that comes. I feel like Zelda games, these last two specifically, are a balance of music and silence, right? In Breath of the Wild, we had the Guardians, right? That panic song that would come on whenever a Guardian would start shooting at you, and then there would be that moment when you kill a Guardian, and it has that nice conclusion. Tears of the Kingdom takes that to a similar level with different moments. But yeah, I do think the music is good in Tears of the Kingdom. I wouldn't say it's the best this year, though.
I think it follows that rule of, like, less is more with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Like, I hated that Breath of the Wild didn't have music, but the longer I played it, the more I understood why. having a Hyrule theme play nonstop would
Can
be
you
really
imagine?
agitating.
Could you imagine
Yeah.
100 hours of hearing the Hyrule?
Yeah,
The
yeah. So
Hyrule
like, less is
overworld
more,
theme?
and they utilized it, for, like you said, also very carefully in certain areas and certain segments, or when things to alert you in the world of certain things, which is clever.
Or they take what used to be a song or a segment of a song and they make it a sound effect in your Pad or something. Like they did a lot of things like that where the chest opening noise that, you know, it was a big build up, da-na-na-na. Now it's like boop, 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 just like very quickly on the tablet. So they've done some things where they kind of reference the past without going too hard. Obviously, like the fairy fountain theme is still there. A lot of those themes that you're gonna want to hear are still there. But yeah, I wouldn't say. We just talked about Mario Wonder. Like, I would not vote for Zelda music over Mario Wonder. Like, just the sheer amount of music that they put in Wonder is very impressive. So while I normally will sit here and pound the table for most things Zelda, this deserves a nomination, but I don't think it's going to win. This next game, though. Ozzy, I believe you were the first one to start banging the drum on Octopath Traveler 2, not just being a great game, but being an excellent, excellent soundtrack.
This might be one of the best soundtracks in an RPG I've ever heard. And it's not just the individual tracks, but the way that they're utilized. The way not just for how they introduce the characters or how they use to accompany the characters, but for how they segue into some of the biggest battles in the game. And it really ups the atmosphere, like in a way that I've never seen in an RPG before. And they're just bangers, man. Just go to any of the boss tracks and they'll live in your head rent free. I absolutely recommend that. Hopefully Greg will be editing in some of the tracks from the game right about here at this timestamp, Greg. But yeah, this is something I can't recommend enough.
Also, just some of the most fantastic overworld music I've heard. Like the Wildlands music during the day, the Iceland's music during night. And that's worth noting right there is that
Day and night at
every
different songs.
single section of this game has a day and night variant of the music. And the night is almost always super ambient and super chill, and the day is just like these sweeping, emotional orchestral scores. And I love them so much. They have like, I can actually when I can actually like feel like emotions swelling inside me, even as I'm just walking through the world. That's a feeling. And Octopath Traveler 2, like, man, when you get to like where you charge up a ×4 attack and you like throw it out there and like the camera sweeps behind you while the music is like hitting like a dramatic swell, that is like goosebumps all the way up the body, head to toe.
Yep. Yeah. And I also, you talked about the overworld. Like, it's a testament to a video game when like I can just leave it on my screen when I'm done playing it. I like forget because I'm just sitting there and enjoying the music. I agree with what you said about the day and night thing. I wish more games did that. I think, oddly enough, Animal Crossing does a really good job of that with like the morning, midday, evening, late night songs. But yeah, Octopath Traveler nails that. Also, this may sound kind of dumb to some people, and I'm curious if anyone actually agrees with me, but one of the battle themes, it sounds like a theme from NCAA 13, the menu. And I just think it's hilarious because, I've put several hundred hours into NCAA 13.
I was going to say, of course you would know that theme by heart at this point.
So I hear this song in Octopath, and I'm like, I kind of want to play some football. No, but it's just one example of that. And obviously there's different battle themes that you're going to hear throughout the game. And they're all contextual and stuff. But yeah, they use music.
You'll hear a lot of different themes over the course of the 50-hour adventure. And they all hit the right notes.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, what you said, Ozzy, early on in this conversation, that the soundtrack's better in the context of the game. Like, it's like, yeah, they're amazing songs standalone, but when you're experiencing them in real time in those moments in the game, it's next level. Very good nomination.
Yeah, when you hear the bill during the cutscene, and then it hits a crescendo as it goes into the battle. That's chef's kiss, man. I love it.
It's excellent merger of game design and music production, right? Like it's a merger of those two things that creates like an awesome experience. And that's why I think it's a very deserving nominee in this category. Any more flowers to give Square Enix here, or should we move on to the next nominee? I think we should move on. Sam, would you like to talk about Bomb Rush Cyberpunk and how much you
I'd
love
love
the
to talk
soundtrack?
about Bomb Rush Cyberpunk and how much I love the soundtrack. Thank you for asking. Um,
Yeah.
Much like Shacknews' Best Music of 2022 winner, Metal Hellsinger, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is a collection of composers that have come together to create music which is just kind of unlike anything else that's currently in the gaming scene at the moment. For those who played Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future back in the early 2000s, they'll be pleased to know that Hideki Naganuma has returned to compose songs in this, and his style of work is, I'm looking at because I don't know the vernacular here, but I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and it's like trip hop and like breakbeat and big beat tunes that are, as if we were just talking before, you said it's like music from the future.
Yeah.
It's just, it's bizarre, it is unusual, but it just kind of matches the vibe that the game is going for when you are like rollerblade skating up a telephone pole, across the wires, tagging graffiti on the wall, jumping off, hitting a wall run, you know, whether you're choosing your inline skates or BMX or skateboard, the music pumping in the background, it gets in your brain, man. It is an earworm. It gets in there. And as I was playing it, my wife was sitting next to me and she's like, what song is this? I'm going to add it to our New Year's playlist. So we go, you know, we'll go to our friend's place and we'll chuck it on as well. And it's just like, it's fantastic. And there's one element about the soundtrack that I really appreciate that, you know, it was a small decision that they made to do, but one that I thought was quite cool is that when you first start the game, you only have maybe a handful of songs in the soundtrack that you can listen to. As you progress, if you perform and clear certain challenges within a level, you can unlock additional songs for the soundtrack. And so you physically have to go out and collect these additional songs to expand the library. And I just thought that was a pretty neat way to make it the soundtrack not just like background noise, but something that you are actively pursuing to expand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I dig it.
And the characters are always vibing to the beat.
They
like
are.
They're bobbing. Their legs are moving.
There's literally a dance button whereby if you dance in a certain spot, you can summon a taxi to take you to different areas. You know, pop locking as you do.
But yeah, it's the music builds the universe in that game. And I think that's important. And like you said, it's a different sound. Yes, it's breakbeat. Yeah, there's trip hop influences, but it's like, there's some harsher sounds in it. Like it's like there's like an industrial tilt to some of it that I think is may go under the radar. But yeah, it is.
When you've got so many composers coming together to create a soundtrack, and yet the whole sort of theme is quite cohesive in terms of what they're all trying to achieve. Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah,
it's such a small studio as well.
Yeah, this is an indie game, and it has a banger soundtrack. Because, you know, just because you're an indie does not mean that you can't work with some talented musicians. And they got someone from the original game to work on it too. So, a worthy nominee, Sam, in a very stacked category this year. Our final nominee, if you're done making your case, Sam.
I'm done making my case. I relinquish the floor.
Okay. Our last nominee is Street Fighter 6. This has a lot of music in it. All Street Fighter games do. But what made this one special, guys? Who wants to?
So like right out of the gate, I think you have to have like a bold idea of where you're gonna go with musical direction. If you're gonna remake, of all people, Ryu's theme. That guy has had the same song off and on in Street Fighter for 30 years. And his Street Fighter 6 theme is just absolutely different from anything we've heard before. And I think it's the best. Which I think that might be blasphemy to some people, but I really do love just the jamming of the Japanese guitar on top of the horns, on top of this sweeping score. And it's like that throughout the whole thing. Like, we have some fantastic villain music with JP and Aki. We have some awesome, just fun music with Zangief's theme and Marisa's theme, just boisterous. The memes that people have put together with these songs. Somebody put Marisa's theme on top of a Home Depot commercial, and it works. Somebody put Zangief's theme on top of an MTV Cribs intro, and it works. I actually took Manon's theme and put it on a playthrough of a Hotline Miami playthrough, and it works. The vibes in this game are just off the wall, so good across the board. And then there's the fact that Street Fighter 6 music is dynamic. A song in Street Fighter 6 changes based on when the intros start and end, when the round starts, when you get down to low health, when you finish the round and it transitions between the first and second round. There's a different set of arrangements for round 2 music, and then there's an ending part of the song. And those all transition seamlessly as you play just a single match. And to build that many parts and make them work so perfectly together and seamlessly is, I think, by itself just incredible.
Nice. So what you're saying is that it's not just the Guile theme that goes with everything?
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Does everything goes with everything? Interesting. Jenny, you were about to chime in there. Go for it.
Yeah, there's definitely some bangers with this one. I do like the way that I feel like they did a really good job of making every theme really fit for the characters involved, and then just the overall vibe. To be honest, I'm actually a bigger fan of the music in this one than Street Fighter V even, which had some of my favorite characters in it, but still didn't quite hit the same on this one. I think that they really kind of hit their stride with this one as far as the actual themes between each one. Majority of the characters I use, I love their themes for as well. So yeah, I think they really did a good job this time around on that end.
Nice. Well, a worthy nominee. I think we should probably get to voting though. What do you guys say?
Yep.
I will start with. I'm gonna throw a wrench in this. Greg, let's start with you.
Oh my god, so many good soundtracks. I love Mario Wonder. Street Fighter 6 sounds like it's baller. But I'm gonna have to do Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Maybe that's the genre of music, Sam. Maybe it's cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe.
This new genre. Okay, TJ. His head's gonna explode.
It is really hard to choose between Street Fighter 6 and Octopath here. I love those soundtracks so very much.
Do you want me to come back to you? I can do that.
You know what? I think I'm gonna go with Octopath Traveler on this one, just because those boss themes are so damn good. And then I'm gonna be honest, I've put this game on in the background and just let the music run while I was cooking a lot of nights. It's good background ambient music when you're out in that world.
Sign of a good game right there. Okay, good vote. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I know it was very tough.
That was a really tough one. This might be the toughest one yet.
Ozzy.
I'm going with Octopath.
I'm not surprised. I think you were the first one to really be like, hey, this was a few weeks ago. Ozzy was like, hey, we have time. Go play this game. Because its soundtrack owns. Bill.
Bomb Rush.
Sam?
I gotta stick with Bomb Rush. Like Octopath is phenomenal. Street Fighter, phenomenal. Bomb Rush resonates with me more than the other ones.
Yeah, it was like they designed a soundtrack for you, though, dude. Like,
Yeah,
that is your vibe. If there was like a new genre for Sam, it's that. Yeah, a solid vote. Very good nomination, and look, it's kind of the scrappy game in this group. All these other games are huge teams with massive budgets. Steve, we got 3
Mario
Nintendo
Wonder.
games here. Yeah, Mario Wonder.
I'm gonna stick Mario Wonder, but it's Octopath Traveler music is really good, but I gotta give it to Wonder.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna be surprised if you didn't pick Wonder there, because yeah, outstanding music. Denny.
Yeah, I was kind of the same boat as TJ. You know, Street Fighter 6, such a banger on this end. Bomb Rush also pretty good. But I also agree on Octopath. I think that I've listened to that more so without even having the game playing. So I'm gonna go with Octopath on this one.
There's really, it's hard to say any of these votes are wrong. They're all very good games with very great soundtracks for different reasons. Yeah, David.
Octopath.
Donovan.
Octopath Traveler 2.
My vote does not matter. Which means I get to vote for F-Zero 99. Nah, I'm not going to do that. I was going to vote for Octopath. It is the best soundtrack I've heard all year. And it just shines while you're playing the game. What TJ said, first day I played the game, TJ, I was already doing that. I left it open on an overworld for an hour, and I was like, oh, I forgot to turn the game off. Because it's just delightful background noise too. But yeah, awesome soundtracks. Every single one of these nominees deserve the nomination, deserves praise. But there can only be one winner of the Shacknews Award for Best Music of the Year 2023, and that is Octopath Traveler 2. Congratulations.
Every road is yours to take. Octopath Traveler 2, February 24th, 2023. Embark on an adventure all your own.